Peace and blessings, family. My name is Jay, and today uh, we're going to continue talking about the signs of Zodiac. And now we're moving on to the last sign of the Zodiac, but not least, and that is Pisces the fish, also known as um, the elder of the Zodiac. Well, that's one thing you call it. It has multiple different names. But anyway, let's get right into it. So, what is Pisces? Pisces is immutable. It's a mutable water sign. Mutable deals with things being changeable, being broadened, and shifting, being changeable in a nutshell. And then water, water deals with our emotions and feelings, and because it deals with emotions and feelings, it also deals with the creativity and intuition and our imagination and our um, dreams and fantasy. So yeah, and you put those two together, you get Pisces, which is a sign that's able to understand other people's uh, points of views from an emotional and feeling when you get a sign that's able to understand other people's points of views when it comes to the emotions and feelings, and also other people's dreams and imaginations and creativity and fantasies. So yeah, and then moving on to the part of the body that Pisces is associated with. Pisces is associated with the feet, and then um, um, like I always say, with every sign there is a planet. With every sign, there's a planetary ruler, and there's also a house. And the house that Pisces is associated with is like in astrology. Pisces, since it's 12 signs associated with 12th house, 12th house is usually uh, um, traditionally it's associated with the house of undoing, but it's also the house of the collective unconscious. Another way to look at that house is like the collective. Is also the house of the subconscious, without getting too deep into everything the house is about. And it's like another way to look at this house is like this is the house where things. This is like the house, since it's we know what the Pisces are associated with. It's the house of like our dreams, our dreams and our dreams and imagination, and our fantasies, and all that. This is the house where things take shape. This is the house where things take shape and form in our minds before in one way or another they manifest outward in some way, which is what the first house, which is all about. What I'm here to do is associated with, and that's also Aries. So yeah, don't want to get too deep into that because there'll be videos talking about the houses in more depth. But yeah, and then moving on to the planetary ruler, which will also help explain things more. The planetary ruler of Pisces. There's two rulers of Pisces, and the traditional one is Jupiter. And seeing that Pisces is a mutable sign, well, that has nothing to do with it, but seeing how Jupiter deals with expansion and growth, and shifts and being changeable, and how Pisces is mutable is doesn't surprise me, but that doesn't necessarily mean those two can be correlated with one another. But anyway, yeah, Pisces, a traditional ruler, is Jupiter, and um, the new the more modern ruler of Pisces now is Neptune, which is a planet that deals with imagination, creativity, dreams, on a much more troublesome, and it can also deal with deceit and illusions and manipulation. Every everything that has a strength, a positive, also has its opposite, which is a weakness or a negative. So yeah, the law of polarity is real. But anyway, getting into a little detail about what the 12th about the house that rules Pisces and the planetary rulers of Pisces. You can kind of see where Pisceans are able to have such you can kind of see why Pisceans are able to have such wisdom, and compassion when it comes to how other people, feel about things, other people's emotional standpoints on things, because that's where that's what they, since they're a water that's since that's what water deals with. The Pisces is a water element, and since it's mutable, that's where they have most of their experience and most of their wisdom. And then knowing how mutable signs in general deal with like compassion and being broad and just being scattered all the time. But since we're talking that can lead to not having energy put in the right place. And then in regards with Pisces, sometimes it may be too compassionate, too sensitive to things, which may or may not be good for the Pisceans. And another way to explain this is like sometimes Pisceans may choose to um, and be compassionate to others that don't need their love and or their compassion, or they may be in environments which um, may or may not. We're talking about like we're talking about the negatives here, so maybe in environments that may not be good for their energy, and for some reason since they're such compassionate souls, they may just deal with it and take it in. But we know ultimately what happens with this is that it tends to start to become very overwhelming and draining. And so that's like when one is being too compassionate, not just Pisces, but any sign that deals with compassion and being relatable. There's also signs like the Libra deals with this too. And yeah, so the main thing, uh, the main thing here with being overly compassionate is to do like one of the hardest things. The main thing here with being overly compassionate, overly empathic, is to do one of the hardest things that it is for a person that's empathic to do, and that's to start show start to be more conservative, more conservative and more restricted or um, logical when it comes to their emotional stance on things or their emotional sensitivity, much like things that Earth and air deal with. And then the reason why this gets done is so that the Pisceans can be like, okay, even though I know I'm a naturally compassionate soul, um, and I already know what this person's going through, I still know this person's energy and their situation. Now if we're talking about a person, this person has to they have to learn how to find their own right now. They don't need my love, because if they do, they're just going to constantly keep it, expecting handouts. And then if it's like a place, be like, this place used to be soothing for me, but now it seems like as times went by, this place has become more like uh, inhabitable, if that's even a word. Uh, Now I'm just throwing like examples around, but basically, with all the examples that could have been used, it ultimately deals with learning how to detach and learning how to use more logic instead of instead of like the feelings, and learning to merge the head with the heart so that there's no imbalance in either area. And so that's going to bring me to like the next. That's going to bring me to saying these things will bring me to the next thing, and that's like I always say uh, the oppositions. So when it comes to since this is a sign of since this is another one of the signs that represents dreamers, and that they usually live in the other realms and other dimensions, and usually have a lot of hard time getting out of that realm, and never know what they're feeling or picking up on if it's theirs. What others what as as it's always said, opposites bring bounce, opposites attract. Do that same thing again here. What sign will help them be more organized with their um, with their feelings and emotions, and also when it comes to their dreams, how to bring them into reality. Then it's the opposing sign Virgo, which deals with being analytical and organized and structured and secure and routine. What better sign would be able to help Pisces out than Virgo? He A sign that's all about keeping things neat and controlled. And we already explained what that can lead to when things are out of their control. And that's where we'll get to that in a minute. When you bring that kind of energy to Pisces, it's going to teach Pisces how to become more stable, more analytical, more practical and logical about their approach when it comes to things that deal with like the dreams and creativity and imagination. But also, since talking about that, um, also with the emotions and feelings, everything that represents water in general. And will help, and Virgos can help Pisces, stabilize that. And then Pisces, on the other hand, like I explained in the Virgo video, can learn to and like I explained in the Virgo video, Pisces can teach Virgo how to let go of things, specifically things that Virgo is emotionally attached to, physically, when those physical possessions or when those physical possessions or whatever, start, getting ready to go. And that's not how things go anyway. Something comes, eventually has to go. Everything has a, time. Everything has a clock on it. So yes. So that's how those two help each other out. Virgo is going to help Pisces become more analytical and logical when it comes to everything that the water deals with, which is the dreams, emotions, the dreams and creativity, the emotions and the feelings. And Pisces will help Virgo, like I was saying in the Virgo video, helps them become more, more mutable, more changeable, not always focused on being secure. Because sometimes there are situations where security, there will be crisis situations, and it can't always be secure. So I'm not really going to get too much into that. But yeah, this is my take on this is my sake. This is my take on the sign Pisces. If you guys liked it, that's awesome. Feel free to give a like if you want, or you can leave a comment. And if you have something that you want to add to the video, or give constructive criticism and or feedback on, that is also appreciated. I always want to learn so that I can grow, and you have my gratitude for that. With that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this series, and at some point later on, I'll start talking about like the houses and planets and all that on a deeper level. So yeah, you guys have a good afternoon. Talk to you guys later. I love y'all. Peace.